a great win for all Americans, that them knowing that the First Amendment is alive and well.
Today, the conservative bloc on the Supreme Court triggered the greatest loss of religious freedom.
Now at 6, a victory for Bremerton's praying coach. In a 6-3 decision, the U.S. Supreme Court sided with former football coach Joe Kennedy, ruling that he can pray on the field with his team.
So what happens next for Joe Kennedy, and what does it mean for school districts across the state in the future? KOMO has team coverage on the Supreme Court decision tonight, including Denise Whitaker, with the impact beyond Bremerton High.
We start with KOMO's Jackie Kent, who has reaction from Kennedy and the school district. Jackie?
Kennedy wants his job back and says he'll keep praying on the field, but others are raising the question of what that could look like going forward without pressuring students to join in.
Big sigh of relief that the hard part's over.
Former Bremerton High School football coach Joe Kennedy is celebrating a landmark Supreme Court ruling that's getting him closer to praying on the field once again.
The Supreme Court has said that he can get his job back, and that when he gets his job back after the game is done and the whistle blows, he's able to go to the 50-yard line and take a knee in private prayer for 15 to 30 seconds.
This follows a years-long legal battle. The Bremerton School District would not renew his contract back in 2015 because Kennedy refused to stop his post-game prayers.
It was just important to be able to exercise my freedom, and that was my commitment between me and God.
At least one player reported feeling pressured to pray in order to play.
My intention was never to pray with the kid.
The conservative majority of justices this morning said the school district violated Kennedy's free speech and religious rights, which he's calling a big win for students and staff across the country.
No one should have to choose between their faith and their livelihood or a job that they love. And the Supreme Court today has said that no one should have to make that choice.
Kennedy wants to return to the campus and keep praying on the field.
Have no desire whatsoever to pray with anybody else, to just go back to what I was doing where nobody even blinked an eye.
Parents all around this country should be afraid right now.
Attorneys for the school district today made it known they're concerned for what this ruling could mean for religious practices in schools moving forward.
We think it opens the door to coercive prayer in K-12 classrooms across the country.
Stating schools have work to do to balance the rights of teachers and coaches without pressuring students to participate.
It will take finding a way to allow them to have the prayers while still respecting and protecting the kids. That's not over.
Stunning survey results show about a third of Seattle educators say they plan to leave the school district in the next 5 years. Tonight, the Seattle Teachers Union is weighing in on the staffing shortage and improvements they'd like to see from the district. KOMO's Jackie Kent spoke with teachers about their experiences. Jackie?
Yeah, one of those teachers is Blake Saunders. He teaches band, choir, and drumline here at Garfield High School, and there's no questioning that he's passionate about what he does. He tells us he's grateful that he's not experiencing burnout, but says the district has a lot of work to do to support his colleagues who are.
I understand that to reach the value and uplift students to where I hope they can be and have solid grounding for their steps in the future, I do choose to spend more time than I am paid for.
Even with a large workload, Garfield High School music teacher Blake Saunders says he focuses on balancing his work with his home life to help avoid burnout. But the Seattle Teachers Union will tell you not everyone can say the same.
Educators are burned out, and that's what our member survey shows. And it comes from a mix of growing workload, disrespectful pay, and toxic working environments. And that trend is alarming.
The Seattle Education Association's latest survey shows a third of members said they see themselves leaving the district in the next 5 years. And 12% plan to leave education entirely. That's a mix of hundreds of teachers, paraeducators, and administrators.
Sometimes educators just looking to find a job that is more competitive wage and less stressful.
Joaquin Rodriguez with the SEA was a science teacher last year and says he still sees the challenges staff are facing at work.
For whatever reason, we're just kind of hearing, well, toughen up, and why aren't you doing better for the kids?
About 10% of survey respondents say they're working double-digit overtime every week, and more than 3/4 claim they're not getting enough support from the superintendent and other district leadership.
A lot of educators aren't getting the support and training they need for their mental health and behavioral therapy type situations to be successful in their jobs, in addition to their content area stuff.
Rodriguez says many educators are pushing for more competitive wages, a lessened workload, and to feel heard by district leadership.
We run on passion, And this passion has not been refilled or renewed in quite some time.
You know, water is power, and despite the 3-day heat wave, the long, chilly, and wet spring helped move Western Washington out of drought territory just in time for the summer ahead.
The U.S. Drought Monitor is a national map released every Thursday. It shows significant improvement over the state of Washington the last 3 months. After this cold, wet spring, the snowpack, also known as water saved for future use, is well over 100% of normal. The soil moisture is high and reservoirs are full. We shouldn't have water shortages this summer, as there is plenty of water for irrigation of fields. Predicting drought has far too many challenges. It is a lot like predicting a weather pattern for the next 30 to 60 days. There are so many variables that change, it becomes unreliable more than 5 days out in time. 1 year ago, the Pacific Northwest had an extremely hot weather pattern. All-time record high temperatures in the 100s were set. The heat at the end of spring was the very beginning of our typical driest, warmest time of year. It sped the process of snowmelt, and the hot air was extremely drying for soils. Large portions of eastern Washington are already a desert climate. Therefore, the Drought Monitor began to rise to extreme and exceptional drought classification. When you notice that the Drought Monitor shows significant changes, check the season. The monitor should reflect the seasonal climate and recent weather. It took time for the drought index to reflect our cool, wet spring, but you can see the significant improvement on today's index. Summertime for Washington is always the driest time of year.
After this summer season passes, expect to see these drought index maps looking more dryly dramatic at the start of fall. It happens every year. Then the annual rainy weather, along with mountain snow, will settle in to change the map again by this time next year.
Eric, well, first of all, it is disheartening for parishioners who go to this church to hear and see that kind of thing happening here. Bellevue police telling us that they will not tolerate any kind of hate, no matter what your beliefs are. Now, take a look at this damage right here. Bellevue police say a 31-year-old suspect smashed 2 doors with rocks at the St. Louis Parish this morning. Then that suspect went to town spray painting anti-church sentiment all over the church property. Investigators say the suspect was angry about Roe v. Wade being overturned this week. Some of the graffiti said, "Women haters" and "lies, lies." Police say a staff member went outside and confronted that person to leave. But police say as the suspect was leaving, he spray painted another worker in the face, then threw a rock at him and missed. They called 911 and police found the suspect a few blocks away. Police say they looked highly intoxicated and was taken into custody.
We all have the right to free speech, right? And marching and stating our beliefs, but there's a line that can be crossed pretty easily. And it's never okay to damage somebody's property or injure somebody or attack somebody, no matter what your beliefs are.
Hi, everyone. I'm Preston Phillips from KOMO News. Thanks for checking out the KOMO YouTube channel. You can see more of our videos right here by clicking on the video links for more news from the Seattle area and Western Washington. Oh, and don't forget to click the subscribe button below so you don't miss our YouTube updates.